This is Gary Marr of Glenville Community College. This screencast is from my SAS 150 AB Online students. In this screencast, I wanted to do another quick review of Assignment 3, go over the instructions and also another possible solution. Some of you got some help from the help video that I prepared. Others, I'm not so sure, got as much help as needed, and I may have actually misled you a little bit. So I wanted to review the assignment. I wanted to give you a couple more examples to look at, and many of you I've asked to resubmit it. I'm not so much worried about when it comes in as much as it comes in correctly. So I'd like you to resubmit it. This assignment involves some if statements or decision structures. And essentially we're going to use the decision structures to validate once the information on store name, coffee type, and pounds. So there's 3 different pieces of information that all will have to be validated with if statements. Now, what you'll find is assignment 4 is going to substitute the if for a while loop, actually. The way this one works is a little bit hokey, I guess, in that if a person doesn't give a valid store name, then the program just ends and they have to start it over again. Assignment 4 is going to ask them to give a valid store name, and if they don't, it's going to ask them again. And if they don't do it again, it's going to keep on asking them until they get a valid store name. Then it's going to ask for a valid coffee type. Then it's going to ask to make sure that the pounds ordered is greater than 0. These are the valid values here. Okay, you can call them whatever you want from an identifier standpoint, but essentially it's store name, coffee type, and pounds ordered. And the only other part of this assignment which is important is doing the calculation for the cost of the coffee, which is the pounds times 1.25 cents per pound. So let's look first at the pseudocode, and most of you did a pretty good job with this. This is a similar program, not exactly the same, but it does have 3 pieces of information that needs to be validated. Happens to be a payroll application. The first piece of information that has to be validated is the employee type, full-time, part-time contract, then whether they want health care or not, and then finally how much their salary is. So it's 3 prompts like assignment 3, but instead of store name, coffee, and pounds ordered, it's employee type, health care, and then salary. What you need to do in each one of these is to create a if block, nested if statements, and there's 2 ways of doing this. This is one example. You can have a nested if statement, or you can join these if statements with an and, or a compound operator. There'll be some examples of this in section 3 of the textbooks. This is a nested if scenario, and this is fine. And basically what this says, if the employee type input that you just collected is not an F, then test it to see if it's a P. If it's not a P, test it to see if it's C. If it's not a C, then display a message and then end the program. Now, what's important here is this exclamation point equals sign is the same as saying not equal. It just turns out that that's how most programming languages express not equals. And rather than typing the word not and then equals, I just use the shortcut method, which is the operators. So this would be for the store name. This one would be for the coffee. And then finally, we have one down below, which would be for the actual pounds ordered. Most of you did okay with this part, although many of you just set up a validation for the pounds ordered. And all 3 of these values have to be validated. I also did a flowchart, and the flowchart is difficult, and I'll be liberal with this one because even though this class does have flowchart as part of the curriculum, it's not one of the major deliverables. We just want to get you introduced to symbols and how they're done. So what I did is I put a Visio diagram or Visio drawing and a PDF out in Canvas along with my pseudocode for you guys to look at. And essentially this is what the flowchart would look like. It's going to ask me the employee type, and then the diamond is going to be each one of the if statements. And if it's true, it asks me, okay, is it a P? No, it's not a P, it's true. It's C, it's not a C. And then finally gives me a message and an end. If it does get an F, a P, or a C, then it continues down to the next part of the program, which is going to ask for health care. So the way this works is if I never get a value for employee type that's valid, it kicks me out. And what you guys should be doing is if it never gives you a valid store name, kick them out. This is a abbreviated flowchart. In other words, this top part here had 3 choices. You would want to duplicate it. Well, you've got actually more than 3 for the first prompt, and you've got more than 3 or 4 for the second prompt, and then finally the last prompt is just going to simply ask for a pounds ordered and make sure that it's greater than 0. I hope this helps. You can use this video along with the other one that I supplied. This is probably closer to what I'm looking at, and I'm not sure I really made that very clear in the first help file that I did. So I'm going to put this out there as an announcement, and if you look inside the Files section of Canvas, let's see, we can see here. If you go into the Files section of Canvas, and then go to Section Files, and this happens to be in Section 2, although it's Section 2 and 3, there's going to be a folder here, Assignment 3 Similar. If you open that, it'll show you a couple of files that should be helpful to you. One is the actual pseudocode file, and if anybody wants to play with Python some, there's the Python file. I hope that helps, and again, I'm giving everybody an opportunity to resubmit this because I feel this is kind of on me too. I probably should have spent a little bit more time making my sample assignment closer to what you guys had to deliver, because I think you followed my example a little too closely and maybe didn't get what you needed to get out of the assignment instructions. If you have any questions, please let me know, email, phone call, whatever, stop by my office. Thank you.